What's good, y'all? It's your boy Micah J, and I'm back again with another video. Now, I'm pretty sure most of y'all are aware of how much I love and idolize Will Smith, and that he's hands down my all-time favorite actor. As a matter of fact, Will Smith is undoubtedly one of the biggest and most beloved celebrities in Hollywood due to his upbeat personality and the way how he's just so extremely likable. And I gotta say, Will Smith is the GOAT. Like, this dude is the motherfucking GOAT. Why, you ask? Because it's been so incredible to see how he has evolved throughout his 30+ year career. From his early days of rapping as the Fresh Prince along with childhood friend DJ Jazzy Jeff, to starring in the hit TV show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which is one of the most memorable sitcoms of the 90s. To being an A-list movie star and being a father and a husband, makes it clear that Will Smith is a living legend. Like, he's a legend. He's the GOAT, man. He's the GOAT. I mean, seriously, throughout the 90s up to 2007, Will Smith was at his prime. Like, he was unstoppable and he could just do no wrong at all. And while I do feel like that ever since 2007, his stature has slightly been diminishing, especially when it comes to starring in disappointing films like Suicide Squad and various other films. But even with that, there's no denying that Will Smith is definitely a pop cultural icon. So with all that being said, to celebrate Will Smith's illustrious film career, and with his upcoming movie Gemini Man coming out this Thursday on October 11th, I'll be taking a look back of what I think are his top 3 best and worst films of all time. So without further ado, let's get started. Starting off with the worst at number 3, Men in Black 2. While the first Men in Black movie is definitely a bona fide classic, which I will get to later in this video, Men in Black 2 was just a major clusterfuck of a film. I mean, seriously, the script and the dialogue in this film is just very subpar. The entire plot of the film is just very sloppy. It just had no other purpose other than just to reunite Agent J with his old cranky partner, Agent K. Agent L, who eventually became Agent J's partner at the end of the first film, is nowhere to be found at all. You even had that very weird cameo from the late great Michael Jackson.
What about that position you promised me in Men in Black?
Still working on the Alien Affirmative Action Program.
And most importantly, the CGI. The CGI and the effects of this entire film is just so horrendously bad. I mean, seriously, just look at this.
Nothing out of them. Now we don't know if it's on Earth or not.
He said third planet. It's here, you idiot.
Third rock from the sun.
I never got that till now.
Pretty much all Men in Black 2 just really does is reenact scenes from the original, and most of them just felt very underwhelming and just less exciting than the first one. While the chemistry between Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith was still on point, but even with that, it still couldn't save the fact that the entire film just felt like a huge bloated mess. Anyways, this film just really annoys me, and I damn sure will not be watching it again. So therefore, let's just move on. Number 2, Wild Wild West. Yeah, don't really have much to say about this movie because if I'm being honest, this was bound to be a failure from the start.
By the way, boobies look great tonight, nice and perky.
With this film bombing at the box office and being critically panned by critics, there's no wonder why that this is just nothing but a massive train wreck of a film. Will Smith just doesn't look comfortable in his role at all. His co-star Kevin Kline just comes off to be very cringeworthy. The villains were just so laughably bad. The only saving grace of this entire film was the beautiful Selma Hayek, and that's just about it.
That outfit
Is most becoming. I hope it's
lovely.
cozy and
I hope it's not too
warm
breezy
back there.
But if there's anything
at all,
I'll
I'm
be
right here.
Oh, aren't you boys nice?
Even to this very day, Will Smith has been very vocal about how Wild Wild West is one of the films that he's deeply regretted ever doing. So the fact that even Will Smith himself regrets doing this film, that should definitely tell you something. Well, I was close to ranking it at number 1, but nope, that would be... And number 1, unsurprisingly, After Earth. Personally, I don't even know where to begin with this because this film is just utter shit. This is the film that was supposed to launch Jaden Smith's acting career to the stratosphere, but instead it did the pure opposite and it just went... Like, seriously, everything about this film is just horrible. From the poor execution, the really bad British accents, and the acting is just so abysmal, especially Jaden's acting.
And why were you? She called out for you, she called your name, and you weren't there because you never did. And you think I'm a coward?
As for Will Smith, he pretty much just took a backseat to let his son get the spotlight, which isn't bad, but he just absolutely showed no emotion at all in this film, like just none. Even Will Smith himself admitted that this movie was a flop, as he said on an interview, and I quote, that was the most painful failure of my career. So, yet again, that should definitely tell you something. So with all this, definitely makes After Earth to be Will Smith's worst performance in a film to date. Now, since I reviewed the worst, let's move on to the best. Starting at number 3, I Am Legend. Out of all Will Smith movies, I Am Legend is hands down my absolute favorite. With this post-apocalyptic film based off the 1954 novel, Will Smith plays as a U.S. Army virologist who finds himself to be the last human being living in New York City after a virus had wiped out nearly all of mankind. While Smith was like the only character throughout the good portion of the film, his acting really did shine through, especially the chemistry between him and the dog Sam. Most people know that Will Smith is always better known for his comedic roles, but in this film he showed his more serious side as an actor, which made it clear that he can act in any type of movie. Plus there are also flashback sequences with Robert Neville and the tragic death of his wife and his daughter, and even the heartbreaking scene where he killed his dog Sam after she was bitten. With this sci-fi horror movie showcasing Will Smith carrying this entire film with a bunch of nocturnal zombies definitely makes I Am Legend to be legendary indeed. Number 2, Men in Black. While films like Bad Boys and Independence Day is what led Will Smith to huge levels of superstardom, this film undoubtedly solidified Will Smith as the box office phenomenon that he is today.
You know what the difference is between you and me? I make this look good.
Now, this was definitely at a time when Will Smith was at the apex of his career, and definitely his most charismatic role in a film to date, especially with him and Tommy Lee Jones just making such a dynamic duo. What makes this movie so memorable is the way how it introduced us to the world of Men in Black, giving us that typical Ghostbusters vibe, very awesome action sequences, and also giving us some very funny moments.
You know, it's actually kind of... cute.
With this film being the second highest grossing film of 1997 behind Titanic and gaining universal praise from critics is definitely what makes Men in Black a cinematic delight. While it did feature 3 lackluster sequels, the first one will always be a classic.
See you around, Jay. No, you won't.
And number 1, The Pursuit of Happyness. Now this by far was Will Smith's most emotional role of his career and the one that really showcased his vulnerability as an actor, and man, did he deliver.
Was it as easy as it looked?
No, sir. No, sir, it wasn't.
Good luck, Chris.
Thank you.
With this film being based on a true story, Will Smith plays as a struggling salesman named Chris Gardner, whose failed ventures causes him to go broke. After his wife moves out, him and his son Christopher Jr., played by Will Smith's real-life son Jaden Smith, are left homeless, causing them to sleep in train stations and meager hotels where they can't afford it. While the film may have not been a huge box office success, but the way how Will Smith impeccably carries his emotion throughout every scene along with his son Jaden was just so gratifying to see.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
With this film garnering universal acclaim, it gained Will Smith an Oscar nomination for Best Actor in a Leading Role. While he may have lost the award, this still stands as one of Will Smith's greatest performances in a film to date. So what do you guys think? Do you guys agree? Feel free to comment down below, and please feel free to share what is your favorite Will Smith movie of all time. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for weekly videos. I'm your boy Michael J, and peace.